Welcome back to our Change interview series, where I'm talking to people who have navigated major life changes to encourage and inspire all of you who are going through comparable situations. And I'm really excited to introduce my guest today. Joanna Hunter is a metaphysical teacher, speaker, and author, and a trained medium who channels a collective consciousness called Skylar. That's much like Esther Hicks channels Abraham. And she's also a spiritual life and business coach. And what makes this really exciting for me is that she is my coach. And I'm really happy to have her here. Welcome, Joanna.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm an absolute pleasure to be here.
So, Joanna, we got to know each other, or I came into your world when you were running your My Million Dollar experiment in 2021. At the start of 2021, you started a 1-year container to see if we can become millionaires through mindset teaching and other tools that you are offering there. And that was an amazing experience. And then I stayed in your world and purchased other courses. And it's just been like I really enjoyed your vibe, and I like to be in your presence and in your vibes. And that's really helped me on my way. And now you're running the My Million Dollar experiment again. And for a full year, people can join in for just $25. And you also have analyzed the results of the first experiment and have improved your material. And we actually had some millionaires coming out of the first container, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, I think you introduced one of the women to my world with your affiliate link, and she went on to become a millionaire, which was amazing.
Yeah, we had Anka here in an interview in the Change series. I think in the year after she became a millionaire, and it's a very delightful interview, one of my favorites, because she has such a positive energy. And actually, it was not me who introduced her. For the first one, we became friends through your My Million Dollar experiment, and now she jumped in through my affiliate link to the second one, because she's a good friend, and she's always trying to help people to make some additional money. And so she came in the second time with my link. But I think you yourself also became an income millionaire through the My Million Dollar experiment in this year, right?
Yeah, it was my $1 million year. And it was part of my intention was to create this really, really powerful container, not only for me to set that goal, but to ask the question, can mindset and intuition training, along with $1 million plan, make you a millionaire in just 1 year? And it was a complete experiment. You know, it really wasn't like we didn't go in with any fixed ideas. We didn't go in with any expected outcomes. We literally were in the vibration and the frequency of playful curiosity. And, you know, we entered this year with this idea of like, we have no idea whether this is going to work or not. We were very upfront with that in our marketing. We were like, do you want to come and play in this kind of vibration and frequency? And, you know, there's no guarantee of outcome, but like, let's give it a whirl. Let's see if we can really make a significant change. And our first millionaire did it in 8 months, which was incredible. A total of 15 millionaires in the experiment came out of the experiment. 1 in every 287 of our participants became a millionaire that year, which was just mind-blowing. Just to put some context to that, in the UK, if you play the UK lotto, you have a 1 in 15 million chance of winning the jackpot, and 1 in 287 people hit $1 million year under their own steam. And I don't know about you, but winning the jackpot would be lovely, but knowing that you've done it yourself, the satisfaction is sublime.
Yeah, it's obviously much better because you don't, have to ascribe it just to luck, and you then also know how to do it. That's the thing that I'm after, actually, to make this breakthrough at some point myself, and then be able to also pass it on to the kids in the family and everyone, because I then know how to do it, and that's I think of much more value, actually. And I also tell everyone at the moment that obviously I didn't become a millionaire in the first experiment, but I've joined the second one for reasons. And one of my big reasons for that is that I tell people, even if you don't become a millionaire, but let's see, maybe you do, you will be in an environment where you have people who are millionaires or become millionaires or are close to that. And that in itself is a really incredibly helpful thing to experience, and to make new friends who are doing that kind of things. I mean, I've just recently seen one of the other people I got to know through your courses, Laura Muirhead, and she said she has reached a bit more than $1 million of extra money that wasn't expected. And I was, wow, my God, I know people who have millions of dollars.
Yeah, Laura, we had a lot of fun on a call, myself and Laura, and I started kind of like really thinking about what we call in my world magic money. And magic money is this idea of money that you weren't expecting, money that just shows up as if by magic, and you're like, oh, okay, this is great. And we realized that in under 2 years, Laura, who is an absolute master manifester, you had manifested $1.2 million in magic money. Like,
yeah,
hello?
yeah, I
Who
mean,
would like that?
that's great. And the thing is, when you are connected to people who have these sort of things happening, you actually begin to see what's possible, and you just open up to so much more, of more opportunities, and you keep going. It also keeps you going, and then you also, when you really build friendships and genuine friendships, there can actually come something out of it on the material side for you too, because I'm currently really in my network. I'm offering some services like putting podcasts. I'm putting podcasts on IMDb because I'm from one of my hobbies. I've been on fan pages forever, and I've done a lot of work on IMDb, and I really know IMDb pretty well. And so I've started doing that, and that's people in my network who want that and want this service and pay me for this service. And so that's just also something that can happen. So I'll tell everyone, come into this experiment. It's really $25. I mean, for a year, and you will get all of that out of it.
I mean, I get told all the time. I mean, so many different coaches have come to me and said, "Oh my God, I can't believe that you're offering this for like just $25." And there's a big reason behind that, because there was a time in my life where $25 was let me think about that investment. Let me have a good hard think, because it might mean that I would have to kind of rejig money in other areas. Because me and my family in 2015, I was in recovery from multiple organ failure, and I had been long-term ill at that point in time. And, we were living on welfare, and it's tough and it's hard. And, and then in 6 years, I had gone from living on welfare to crossing $1 million year in just 6 years. And, and that is a testament to mindset and intuition. And, the experiment proved that with those valuable tools of the right mindset and an expanded intuition, that you can guide yourself to your very own $1 million year, and as you said, you know, even if you don't reach $1 million, your mindset changes. I have a question for you. When you entered the $1 million experiment, were you in the mindset of like, yeah, sure, I could make $1 million, or did that feel like it was so very far away and it was like, I don't know if that's something I could achieve? Where was your mindset at when you entered that experiment?
Yeah, I think I was at, I don't think it's very likely to happen, but I would find it nice to happen. So let's just give it a go, you know, let's just
Okay.
check it out and see what happens. And so I was generally open to the possibility that it's could perhaps happen, but I didn't think it's very probable for me. That's because I was so far away. I mean, still so far away from that. So I couldn't, because I couldn't see the how, you know.
Sorry. Do you feel now that you have, like, the way that you are now, do you think it's a matter of when, not if anymore? Have you made that shift? Have you felt for yourself like, you know what, if I keep going in the way that I'm going, it's going to happen, rather than, no, it's still so far away? Where's your mind shifted to?
I think that's always been the case for me, that I think most people in my environment think I'm a bit nuts, because I always think things will be better, you know, things will improve, and I just have to keep going in the direction I want. You know, I have this vision where I want to go with my life and my business and everything. And I always think I just have to keep going and have to somehow manage to be able to keep going. And then at some point I will get there. So I think that's always been the case. And currently I feel like things are falling into place because I have various projects also. That's what really resonates with me in you, is this multi-passionate thing. That I'm doing this and that and that, and currently it feels like something is has started to flow, because that what I mentioned before, what I'm currently doing is, it's not a huge amount of money coming in, but it's something that came to me, that people gave me the idea, that's something I could use, that's something that would be interesting for me, that's something I would like someone to do for me. So that's a different thing from, you know, thinking what can I do and then trying to push to get clients for that. So there's something going. So I think it's more likely now to go
Than
let's say
ever.
a level up and then eventually come there.
But I wanted feedback that I've had is that people entered into the experiment in one type of mindset, but even if they didn't do the $1 million that year, they left that experiment in a very different mindset. They were like way more open to the possibilities, way more assured that it was people just like them that created $1 million. You know, it wasn't a case of like, you know how, I mean, I spent years thinking that the $1 million was for, like, I don't know, like the super fancy people or something. And it wasn't until I started to explore this mindset, this money mindset, of realizing it's people just like me that do it. And then, of course, now I've done it and it is people just like me, but it's people just like you and your listeners that can do it too. And that's, I think, the magic of being inside something like the $1 million experiment. Sometimes it's good to be, you know, you're saying that people call you nutty and stuff, and sometimes it's good to find where all the other nutty people hang out, the people that believe in better, the people that believe in things will get better and improve, because it is tough out there to be a person that believes those things and then to continuously hear from what we call the people police, you know, get your head out the clouds, come back down to earth, you know, all of those things that are used to police usually very creative individuals and creatives. And that's hard on a daily basis. And one of the things that I love about the $1 Million Experiment is that we kind of like gather all the crazy people around. But, you know, if you really want to change the world, you have to be crazy enough to believe that you can.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. I think that's really one of the most important things in these containers, really, that you get to know all these other people, and
You get to
it
know
really
all.
encourages you, and you get new friendships. And I really appreciate all the friendships I've gained through that, and which really are changing my world at the moment in various ways. But I really would like to go a little bit deeper into those challenges you have faced. I mean, you have had several major life changes, because as a child already you moved from Sweden to Scotland. I mean, that's also a really big thing. And then you had businesses, I think, at a very young age, very successful businesses. But then still you had this breakdown and burnout and multi-organ failure, and couldn't really do much. And you were on welfare, and now you are actually on the upper end again, and really making a great deal of money. And maybe you could share a bit with our listeners, with our audience, about how you navigated that, how you kept going. I mean, that could have crushed someone else.
I think for me, I mean, I think the biggest challenge that I probably have been through, I've been through so many, but I think I had probably in early childhood, maybe one of the biggest challenges, which was I was born with my spiritual gifts switched on. And I have a very unique ability where I can actually see energy. Now, when I was a child, I thought everybody could do that. I didn't think I was any different. And so when I was about 3 years of age, 4 years of age, I just remember feeling absolutely horrified that other people couldn't see what I could see, and realizing that adults around me were sometimes either fascinated by me or scared. And, you know, when you're like 3 years of age and you realize like a fully grown adult who is, you know, the people that you look to for safety and security, and they're actually afraid of you because of the things that you can say and the things that you see and stuff. And you know, in your world and in that undeveloped psyche, in a way, you see people and you know, and it's your reality, and then somebody is afraid because your reality is different to theirs. And so that was, and I think in early childhood, that's where I got my love of science. I needed science. It wasn't a case of like, oh yeah, science is so interesting. I was like, no, I need this. I need science to prove that I am not completely nuts, you know? And so that's where I got a real love of science. And then as I grew older and older and older, and started to go into things like quantum physics, and started to go into things like particle physics and quantum mechanics and things, I then came across a science that I believed had just been made for me, which was the science of metaphysics. And metaphysics is the only science that studies what happens beyond this physical world. And it is a mixture of many different sciences altogether, and it's a mixture of philosophies and in that mix. And so in 2022, or no, in 2020, I actually gave myself permission to begin to study my doctorate, which I'm still studying for, my doctorate in metaphysical science. But you know, then in 9 years of age, and I was already weird, and now I moved from Sweden to the UK, and now I'm the weird Swedish girl, you know. And so again, that feeling of being very different, that feeling of being very you know, and you know, being surrounded, we moved from a major capital city, Stockholm, into a tiny, and at the time it didn't even have city status, a tiny town of Inverness in the north of Scotland. And now it's a city of Inverness. But when I first moved there back in 1984, it was a tiny little town. And so that was challenging as well. And then at the age of 23, I had 2 young children. I was newly married. and I had two little children, and I decided that I was going to start my first business. So I started a brick and mortar designer clothing shop. And I've always loved business. I've always loved fashion. I've always loved things like that. So it was really a passion kind of project. But within 1 year, I had already built my first six-figure business and started two other businesses. I started a designer shoe shop and I just started a cafe. Then between the ages of 23 and 26, I built four six-figure and multiple six-figure businesses. And then I worked in them all. And I was very attached to the mindset, you've got to work hard for money. And I have never been shy of working, like it's not a problem for me. I've been like, okay, let's do it. Roll up my sleeves, get my hands dirty, let's do it. And I had this very fixed idea that you have to work hard for money. And I became a self-fulfilling prophecy of that. I worked very hard for money. And working in all of those businesses, never taking breaks, never taking holidays, never really fully looking after myself or really caring for myself. I then, 9 years into that journey, just almost at 10 years, I hit a massive burnout, huge. And I collapsed at home of multiple organ failure. Every soft tissue organ in my body began failing or stopped working. And for all intents and purposes, I was dying. And I was rushed to hospital. And after 2 days of tests, this was the diagnosis that I need to prepare my family for my passing. There was no viral or bacterial reason why my organs were shutting themselves down. They had no cause for why this was. And they asked me if I wanted a priest, and I had a really weird, awkward conversation because I was like, well, I'm a spiritualist, so no, I'm good, thanks. And the doctor was like, okay, so what do you have? And I was like, well, we have mediums. And you could tell that the word medium was kind of like an odd word in his mouth, because he was like, a medium, so what do they do? And I said, well, they kind of prove life after death. And he was just like, that was a conversation ender. He was just like, oh. And in my hour of need, that's where I turned back to the spirit world that had been so prevalent in my childhood and had never really gone away, but I had done my damnedest to squish this thing down so that I could be normal and fit in. And that's where I turned in my hour of need. And this divine wisdom began speaking to me and teaching me how to heal my body first and foremost. So I did a very naughty thing, and I signed myself out of the hospital against doctor's advice because they were expecting me to pass away. And in my mind, I needed just to get the hell away from people that thought I was dying. I needed to be around the people that thought I was going to be alive. So I went home to my kids and my husband, and I was really ill. And of course, the hospital were like, we can't send anything with you. Like, we're helping you to breathe. Like, this is really, really not a good idea. But I was determined. And I knew I had made a decision in the hospital bed, and it was like, this is not how my story ends. Like, Joanna Hunter does not go out quietly into the night in a freaking hospital bed. Like, this is not how I go out. And like, I was just so determined. And I think it was really sheer force of will that the reason I'm still here, over a decade later, I'm still here, and I survived that. But from that point onwards, it became a before and after scenario in my life. I could no longer go back to the way that I had been working before. I could no longer go back to being so out of sync with my own natural rhythms and my own psychic and spiritual gifts. I just couldn't anymore. And so as I began to follow this internal wisdom, and as I began to follow that internal wisdom and really listen to it, I began to heal my body. And the aftermath of multiple organ failure was not pretty. I had 5 abdominal surgeries. I had left with chronic fatigue. I was left with a chronic unexplained pain syndrome where I had a lot of pain in my body. So I spent many, many times very uncomfortable. Took a lot of pain relief and things. And then I had an autoimmune condition that for about 6 months of my life, I became allergic to the world, and I would break out in blisters and hives and just be really unwell. And to this day, that autoimmune condition has like zero name. I've had no symptoms in 6 years. So I've really been able to heal my body fully through the power of mindset. And once I healed my body to a certain degree, I realized that having had such a huge lifestyle change of having a lot of money flowing through my life and my business to suddenly living on welfare. My husband became my carer to look after me because I wasn't really capable of fully looking after myself, and also as well my kids as well, because I'm a mama of 3. So I wasn't really able to be sort of fully present as a parent as I had wanted. And so my husband didn't work for a while to make sure that I was okay, and you know, and the kids were okay and stuff. And so financially things were like super tough. And then once I got to a certain level of healing within my own body, I just decided, you know, I was just sick and tired of feeling sick and tired, and I was sick and tired of being broke. And I realized if I can shift my mindset to heal my physical body from things that doctors had said I would never heal from and that I would never recover. In fact, one doctor wrote in giant letters on my medical notes, "This woman must accept her diagnosis." Like, you know, like so rude. And I thought, no, I don't accept that I came into this world with, you know, I've been very blessed. I came into this world with no disabilities. I don't accept that I then go through this and that all the building blocks, all the cells, if all the cells in your body completely renew themselves every 7 years, I just don't accept that you're going to have it forever. Right? Like that was my mindset. It like made no physical sense to me. And I thought the only thing that would make sense, that would keep your cells mutating in a way or creating that disease or creating that thing in your body, is because you have a thought that holds it there. So I was like, no, I'm sorry, I will not be accepting those diagnoses. I'm on my way to healing, and that was my mindset. I'm on my way to healing, and of course I'm living that reality today. I am living in a healed reality. And so I thought, well, okay, if I could do that with my body, could I do that with my financial situation? And again, it was playful curiosity, and it was a sheer experiment for myself. Could I do this? Within 2 years, I retired my husband from his day job. He had gone out to, at that point, I had felt well enough for him to go out to work. He had gone out to work, which stabilized our income. And gave us a regular income for bills and things. And it meant that there was a lot less pressure on my little fledgling business. And within 2 years, I had made enough money and built my 5th 6-figure a year business and was able to retire my husband. Then we took that to multiple 6 figures. And then in 2021, we took it to $1 million in sales.
Well, it's such a fascinating story, really, because it's kind of like you made so many miracles happen. I think we are over our time, actually, but I don't know if you have time for one more question, because
absolutely.
Great, because what I thought about is obviously, because you had built so successful businesses before, you obviously have talents there. I mean, you can do that. And also you have this spiritual guidance. I mean, you are a channel also in the medium, and you can see things others can't see. So people who don't have that would probably assume that when you start to try to build a new business, that all these things will give you a great deal of confidence, which others might not have. And I would like to know if did that feel to you like this, or was it more, were you more insecure, and if so, why?
I'm still human. I'm still human. So I might have a voice in my head that belongs to Skylar that tells me the most incredible secrets of the universe and how to heal my body. And I might have so much proof around me that, you know, and miracles have happened. And so when that voice says, go do this, I should trust it, right? But I'm human. So I go, let me think about trusting that, you know, and I'm still human. I'm still human. So I still have doubts and I still have fears and things like that. I think my difference between me and maybe other people is I don't allow my doubts and my fears to define me. The moment that we allow our doubts and our fears to dictate our actions is the moment we let our doubts and our fears define us. And I am a person that just simply does not allow my doubts and my fears to define me or my actions. And so I try to always take action from an energy base of love. But I want to touch on something where you said, you know, not everybody has these gifts. I would like to say that everybody does have these gifts. It's just that most people have just never been shown how to use them.
And not experienced that. Yeah,
Absolutely. And they like that. But everybody has an internal guidance system. You know, everybody has a soul. Everybody has an internal guidance system, which is that soul. And it is a matter of connecting somebody to it. And that's one of the things that we teach in the $1 Million Experiment. You know, we teach you to start connecting to that internal guidance system. But you know what? You're still going to be human. So the first few times that you connect with your internal guidance system, you might not be so up for listening to it. Because, or trusting it, right? So the trust and the listening to that internal guide system, that's another kettle of fish. That is where we have to create the spiritual practice of really going back there and listening. And I know that every time I listen to the internal guidance system, my life turns out really good and turns out really, really well. I know every time that I ignore the guidance system, that I'm not so happy when I'm like, God, I knew it, you know, and I did the opposite thing. But the thing is, you need to do that at least once or 50 million times before you start building the trust to listen to the guidance system. And there's no shame in that, because at the end of the day, we all came here to have a human experience. You know, we all came here to live in this human body and to have this human avatar and to live this human experience. So really, you know, there's no shame in that. And I think one of the biggest parts of my spiritual journey has been to move into a place of utter appreciation of my human. All the silly, stupid, idiotic things that our humans can do, you know, all of it, it's all glorious. It all gets to be glorious. It gets to be glorious when I'm losing my crap over something which in hindsight you look back and you think, God, that was just a tiny little molehill. It wasn't even a mountain and I made it into a mountain. That gets to be glorious. I get to be glorious when I cross the finish line of $1 million year. That gets to be glorious too. But I get to be glorious when I'm having a little mini meltdown over not feeling great in my body or whatever it is, right? Whatever it is, it all gets to be glorious. And I think this is one of the biggest things that I've learned also with wealth. And I would love to share this with your listeners. So many people tell me, I will make this money, I will do this thing, I will have this goal when I get my crap together. And you are perfection as you already are. Whether you have your crap together or whether you don't have your crap together, you are perfection. You are exactly as you are meant to be in that moment in time. And when you start to change your thinking, that actually you don't need to change, that who you are right now, whether you are nailing life and you are getting it all correct, or whether you are just a hot mess right now, that all of it is worthy of that wealth. All of it is worthy of the glory of life, and all of it is worthy of goodness. And I think that we often like to pigeonhole things as human beings, and we like to say, well, I'm really only worthy of the money, or I'm really only worthy of the good stuff if I have my crap together. No, you're worthy even in the moments where you are falling apart. You are worthy then too. And I think once you make that shift and that change, it becomes a lot easier to make money, because you realize you don't have to strive for perfection to make the money. You realize that actually, you know what? Like I can make the money when I haven't washed my hair in 2 days, and I'm refusing to get out my PJs, you know?
Yeah.
Like I don't need to be perfection.
Yeah, I mean that's really great news for everyone, I think. And what you mentioned, I think that's really important to underline what you mentioned about the practice, because I really have experienced that cutting myself off, off this intuitive inner compass, as I called it, which I used to have with big matters. I've always had a lot of noise too, but I had that with big matters always. And then I kind of cut myself off with fear and fear conditioning. And then I had to somehow find my way back. And it's also something I'm offering with trance journeys, because that was my way back, was to put myself into a trance state in order to make sure it's not my little mind speaking all of the time. And I think that the practice is a very important thing. I've been doing that now for 3 years, working on that, and really made great shifts and improvements also in how I can handle things and how I can still feel great even if I see an abyss coming there, and on the material side. And what has really helped me with that is inter alia, being in your world and seeing all your coming into your calls and into your courses and so on. So I think that's something that is really helpful, to have someone in your life, even if it's online, which you are working online, where you can go and just dip yourself into this energy and to get this encouragement and to keep you going and to keep you in line. And you're also offering so much free stuff for people who really can't afford it, because I've been there too.
I'm really, really passionate about that. I mean, every month since 2016, I have rocked up to that internet and offered a free class, and I have no intention of changing that. Offering that free class is something that I feel so good about, and knowing that, that if somebody truly genuinely wants to change their lives, being in my world means that the entry level price tag is free, which everyone can afford. And I think that that's, important to me, because the road will grow you, and and there's many times that people have only been able to afford the free and come in, and then what they've learned from the free content has allowed them to be able to come forward and invest, which is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, that's really, really a great offer, great thing. And I really recommend to everyone to come into your free classes and to just experience that and to start making shifts, because I also really appreciate it, because I'm not currently in that situation, but when I was doing my PhD in the early days, my threshold was €5 per month, it was worth more back then, but the money, but everything that went over €5 was something I had to think about. So that was my threshold back then. So I've been there, and I think that's just great to have such offers and such help. And I also think when people start to get to know you and to get into your world and to get this support, and the shifts that are happening are, I think, will be leading to then working on being able to afford something like the My $1 Million Experiment at $25, for example. And
absolutely.
yeah.
Or one of the bigger programs like Divine Planning or Lightweb or something like that. But really, at the end of the day, we don't do hard sell. We don't do pressure in any way, shape, or form. there is always an invite in my world to come and join us on the journeys that we offer. And they are journeys. They're journeys deep into your own self, deep into your connection to source, your connection to magic, your connection to better feeling mindset, you know, because right now, if you are experiencing not feeling good in your life, it is a reflection of two things, your energy and your mindset. And, you know, and those can be changed. That's the good news.
Yeah.
Those can be changed.
Yeah, and your story really is such a testament to that, and such a great example how you managed to go from, you know, being really ill and being on welfare to now really thriving in a coaching business and having a great deal of abundance too. And I hope that encourages everyone who is listening here. So
Yeah.
thank you very much, Joanna, for coming on. It was great and it was exciting for me, and I'm really happy. And yeah, I hope a lot of people will also feel encouraged to just check out one of your courses or even your free master classes. And I will drop all the links in the description. My own affiliate links and the direct links, and so everyone can choose how to come in. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And yeah, I look forward to let me know if you've come in through Suzanne's world. Come and send us a wee message if you heard, you know, you found me first through Susanne. I would love to hear.